Welcome back to the Conscious Kingdom. Can't wait to share with you this next topic.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you guys here. Again, as I say, it's always so heartwarming to be able to share the space and just share our experiences, because otherwise, well, we're going through all of this, right?
Exactly. Why are we putting ourselves through this? So we're talking about the topic of removing negative thought patterns, because some of you out there, only some of you I'm sure, have negative thought patterns that obviously get in the way of feeling blissful, happy, enjoying your life because of something that's been stuck there because of, you know what, comfort, something you know. When without a negative thought, what would you be without it? And we've most likely learnt it from when we were children, programmed at such a young age, having certain mentors around us that may have been rather negative because they were in their own negative patterns, and these patterns were passed down to us from generation to generation. We're so blessed indeed.
Well, having negative thought pattern is an absolutely natural experience because it is a self-preservation technique, let's put it this way, because if we didn't have negative thought patterns, then we wouldn't have the contrast that would challenge us to get to the higher levels of consciousness. And negative thought patterns is something that we nurture in ourselves, and it becomes almost like its own entity. Thoughts almost have their own personality per se, and they start to grow on the fertile ground of fear.
Yeah, absolutely. Fear really is a beautiful fertile ground if you want to continue negative thinking. Now, if you're onto this and you may be going through negative thinking right now, where are you held in fear? You know, fear, as we know, is false evidence appearing real. So we are projecting into the future something that's not happened, but we're fearful of our own mind that something may happen. And so the issue with this is that we can will this into being because we're powerful beings. Mm-hmm. And if you are aware of your negative patterns, and we talked about awareness and consciousness in our other video, you can, by bringing awareness to it, you can start to unravel it.
So when you are in a negative thought patterns, you can see it straight away, you can feel it straight away, because it's something that keeps on repeating. That's the thing about the negative thoughts. They, like I said, they have these personalities almost that keep on coming back like a boomerang, you know, and you find yourself when you least expect it, in the middle of the night when you wake up, or the first thing in the morning, the last thing at night, that it is that thought that keeps on repeating itself over and over again. And this is how you know you're in a loop. This is how you know that you don't belong to yourself, but you belong to the fear, you belong to that negative thought. And the important part about this is that not to try and fight it in a way that you shame yourself for having become, you know, the victim of the negative thought patterns, because in that point you giving away your power. You're giving away your power, that you are the one who is creating those thoughts. So instead of that, use it as an opportunity to actually understand and get to know why those thoughts are there in the first place.
I mean, every negative thought has energy behind it, and it's up to you to build momentum behind it. You can, of course, we're talking about it before, become aware of it. And I've had my issues many a times with negative thoughts really impacting my life and really getting in the way of things. You know, it's very hard to be in the now when you have a thought that is consistently running in the background, dictating your feelings. And you don't feel strong, your physiology is very weak because there's negative thought that is constantly a reminder. You think to yourself, what is it reminding me of? Why does it need to remind me that it's there? Now, a lot of people may be dealing with a negative thought because they may be afraid to confront something. And confronting would mean that they get to deal with the truth. And once they deal with the truth of it, then that negative thought could disappear. And they just need to be honest with themselves, they need to be honest with everyone around them, and then it's gone, right? And depending on what it is, you may be feeling guilty of something in the past, or remorseful, or whatever it is that sort of is plaguing you. Now, if it's just a moment in time in your memory, you can go back to that time in memory and actually visit it and heal it. Right? See the benefits of it and write down the benefits over and over again. How did it benefit that person in that time? And you really have to do the work. It's a Dr. John DeMartini method, something I've done a few times. And you just do this over and over again, and you can literally dilute that negative thought and replace it with a positive thought and be grateful for a situation or moment that happened in the past.
Think of negative thoughts as living on platforms in your psyche. So negative thoughts almost have their own space, like their own level. And the only way that those negative thoughts become positive thoughts, thoughts that serve you, is to raise above that level of where, you know, those houses of those negative thoughts live. Like we said before, it's almost like their own entities that, you know, the more they go into a circle, the more momentum they get, the more powerful they get, and they actually become part of your personality. So how do we get to the point that we rise and raise above those platforms where those negative thought patterns live? Well, you know, as Tony Robbins says, fear doesn't live where gratitude lives. So the number one alchemical tool, I would say, is the tool of gratitude, attitude of gratitude. If you can find on the spot at least 3 things that you are grateful for, and you keep on reaffirming and reassuring them while breathing into your heart, you will see that you will raise to that level of that platform and that level of consciousness where those negative thoughts no longer exist. So if you commit to that, to do that over a longer period of time throughout your day, you will realize that those thoughts, because they haven't been fed any longer, you haven't been giving them your energy. The only reason why they survived was because you fed them. And when you don't feed them any longer, just like weeds that don't get water and they get pulled out, that just like you know, anything, you know, any plants that are thoughts don't survive when they don't get energy. Mm-hmm. And where your focus goes, where your energy flows,
where your focus goes, energy flows.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? I remember doing this when I was talking on the stage. I would talk about a cold. You get a cold. What do you need? Vitamin C. If you're in a negative mind, then your mind needs ultimately vitamin C. But what is that vitamin C? And when I was going through that negative mind pattern and all this stuff, I would be listening to positive things. I wasn't feeding that negativity by attracting negative thoughts, because when you're in a negative pattern, you seem to pull in to your reality negative things, right? You attract it. If you're watching YouTube and you're watching videos and news channels and it's all doom and gloom, unless you're in a strong place of mind to observe it, you know, without feeling it's pulling your emotions, I would suggest go away from this and listen to positive things like this, for example, of course. Or there's, you know, meditation by Wayne Dyer, there's Tony Robbins videos. There are a ton of people out there who are doing amazing positive things that you can just listen to, like vitamin C, get that cold out by just, you know, flooding your mind with all the positive stuff from morning, the first thing you do, and any time you get during the day and at night. And you do this every day with the likes of meditation, breathing in your heart, gratitude. You just stick with it and you do anything you can, reading and materials, and you'll start to become aware of all the negative patterns that were there, and you really are squeezing them out by really feeling good, endorphins, and exercise. You know, really getting out there and exercising is a beautiful way of releasing endorphins and getting you back in your body rather than being in your head with the negative thoughts. And these really are tools that if you use them together, depending on you and your lifestyle, you can really eradicate negative thinking or minimize it a lot less than before if it's really taking over your life.
And you know, when you do things that you really enjoy, so when you focus on joy, something that brings true happiness to your heart, when it is a certain hobby or a certain act that you really truly feel joyful about, do more of that. Make it in such a way that you give time of the day just to yourself, where you concentrate on doing the things that you truly, truly love. And staying in that state of joy is like the ultimate antidote. Yeah, it's the ultimate problem solver, because you can never solve the problems from the same level of consciousness that have created. And joy has this alchemical power to change your reality in an instant. You know, and it's just, you just have the responsibility of keep on coming back to joy, so that it gets the momentum to spread through all the areas of your life.
Beautiful. So we got Eckhart Tolle, if you've heard of him, Eckhart Tolle. He wrote a book called The Power of Now. It was really an awesome book. I read it many years ago, and it made me aware of this little voice that was in my head, and then I realized I couldn't stop this little voice in my head. But he really goes into it, and let's look at it. He explains to overcome negative thinking and stop the cycle by getting a grip on your thoughts is the first step to taking back control over your life. And the best way to do this, according to Eckhart Tolle, is to stay in the present moment. The problem? The ego doesn't exist in the present moment.
That's why it's called the present.
So to the ego, the present moment hardly exists. Only past and future are considered important. This total reversal of the truth accounts for the fact that in the ego mode, the mind is so dysfunctional, it is always concerned with keeping the past alive, because without it, who are you?
This is beautiful. So the thought forms, the negative thought forms, they will not exist in the now if you really are in the now. If you are not observing and judging your experience, they won't be negative or positive thought. They will not be thoughts that will be assessing your experience. When you're committed to the present moment and you are completely in it, you're just experiencing it. That's again going back into your heart. Your heart has no judgment. Your heart is present and your heart is in the now. The heart doesn't think. The heart feels. The brain thinks. The brain, makes up these thoughts. So again, creating that habit of, bringing you back into your mind, into your heart. You can do that with breathing. We keep on talking about that, but breathing is really a beautiful way of you staying in the now. That's why people meditate. That's why they do all these spiritual practices and yoga, and even after gyms, there's so many endorphins are released because you really just breathe in a cyclical way, right? So that is the present moment. That is being committed to the present moment, and the more you stay in that, the less negative thoughts you will have.
Yeah, and just lastly, pre-framing. It just came to me, a situation that you may feel apprehensive about, or God, that seems negative, or it's going to be hard. It isn't. It's just that we make it that way. And when you pre-frame yourself and you're about to go into it, you go, you know what? I'm going to really enjoy this experience. I'm going through it. This life is about experiences. And I'm going to decide that what I'm about to step into is going to be a positive experience, and I'm going to learn so much. Even if people perceive it on the outside, that's terrible, are you okay? I'm fantastic, I learned so much. And if you pre-frame situations in your life that would be perceived as really negative and are you okay, but you come out of it like, absolutely I am, because I'm growing, I'm going out there to expand, I need this to grow against, so I'm inviting it into my life, and I'm going to have a positive attitude going through it. And then you are taking over that part of yourself. It's not allowing the negative thoughts to come in, because it's not going to be in your paradigm anymore. So on that note, we want to thank you for checking us out, and hopefully that negative part of your brain is getting quieter. And we'd love to hear from you. Comments. We want to hear the comments about what you're going through, what helps you, so that you can help other people who are listening, and anything else, so that we can hear what your topics are and talk about it.
Thank you so much for your attention. We are looking forward to doing more of those with you. And for now, much love.
Bye.